Aren't you tired of neglecting your New Year's resolutions and feeling absolutely hopeless by the end of December every year? Goals, hobbies, beautiful memories. Then this video is for you because I'm about to reveal the most valuable hobbies to learn this year. My hobbies were my most gate-kept secret up until now. I've never really talked about this on camera because they changed my life in the most unexpected ways. My self-concept, my confidence, the way I carry myself and present myself in a room, my resume, the professional and creative opportunities that have come my way simply because I decided to do something for fun and I stuck with it. There are so many reasons that make hobbies worth it. Some of my hobbies are for fun, some are to build actual skills that are gonna help me down the line and for my resume, and some are there for fulfillment and to make a difference in my life, in other people's lives. My biggest question is why they don't teach this stuff in school, because I was personally never taught about the importance of extracurriculars. It was always grades, you have to get better grades. And that turned out to be totally false because at the end of the day, grades are only one thing. Grades don't usually transcend school. It's literally like a letter on a piece of paper. It's not the grade itself that benefits you, but rather the skills that you acquire throughout the process of getting those grades. And I want to argue that getting grades or doing well in school is not the only thing that makes you successful. I'm making this video because I've seen a lot of young people my age struggling to find meaning in their lives, because the harsh reality is extracurriculars and what you do outside of work, outside of school, those things are 10 times more important than any grades, accolades, or awards that you get. Don't get me wrong, those are very important, but it doesn't truly make you unique. What makes you unique is how you use your time outside of school. Who are you? Ask yourself, who are you outside of school? If school wasn't here, if work wasn't here, who are you? I feel like people between the ages of 13 and 22 don't ask themselves that question a lot, and as a result, they suffer. So I hope you find this video valuable because what I'm about to tell you changed my life professionally, creatively. Everything has changed because of these hobbies, and they literally have shaped me into who I am today. So before I reveal the 5 types of hobbies that you need to learn this year, I'm gonna explain to you what I have gotten as a result of the hobbies that I started. Even on the most basic level, hobbies, the very first thing they've done is made me a well-rounded person. When I go out, I can strike a conversation with an athlete, with an artist, with an academic, with so many different types of people. Even though I'm not naturally 100% extroverted, when I was younger, I was really quiet. You do not want to see Lyla from 5 years ago. And I really struggled to keep up conversations with people because I thought it was just boring, okay? I didn't have anything to talk about. I just didn't feel like I brought anything of value to the conversation, and as a result, my self-esteem was low. There was a whole myriad of problems that came and affected my ability to talk to people and get a conversation going. That all changed when I started focusing on my hobbies. And the reason for that is because I've been immersing myself in all these different areas that allow me to relate to people better for years. Okay, for example, if I go out and somebody's talking about a sport, even if I'm not really a sports fan, because I've played several sports together, because I know what goes into athleticism and having to deal with coaches and going to practices, because I've literally immersed myself in that, I can hold a conversation with those types of people and I can show them that I relate to them, and as a result, people like you more. When you're able to listen to people and you're able to strike a conversation with them back and forth, it gives you so much to talk about. You will become a social butterfly and somebody that is interesting to talk to because you're knowledgeable about so many different things. You're somebody that people can learn from. You're somebody that's entertaining and interesting, and as a result, people want to talk to you more. I'm pretty sure my teachers have gone easier on me in terms of grades or just respected my work ethic more because I was constantly doing a million different things in school. Because when teachers see that you're doing so many different things along with managing school or managing your grades, people love that because it's aspirational, it's inspirational. I'm gonna touch on the rest of the benefits later. Let's get into the 5 hobbies that you need to learn this year. Number 1, a hobby that keeps you creative. We are wired to create. I will stand by this until the day I die. Why do you think so many people love making videos? Why do you think so many kids want to be content creators now? Besides the financial incentives and the fame, what draws people to this constantly is our natural tendency to create. We love to make things. We love to put things out into the world, our own creations. People love to innovate. That's why people are constantly advancing. You have the new iPhones coming out every single year. And through this process of creating things, what happens is you learn so much, challenging yourself and stimulating your brain. It's sort of like mental gymnastics for your brain. Out of all the hobbies I'm going to reveal to you, this is the largest category because art is so broad. Art has so many different types of definitions. Can art even be defined? So it can be anything from photography to painting to knitting. Even YouTube is a creative hobby, and it allows you to learn so many skills that then transcend that hobby. So it's not just, oh, I'm doing YouTube. You end up doing like so many things like video editing, thumbnail designing, the psychology of design, and like analyzing stuff. And you're learning how to use so many different types of equipment, the art of filmmaking and cinematography or videography, depending on like what type of stuff you want to create, right? And the thing about these skills is they're not just good for the thing that you're doing. So for example, if somebody decides they want to start a YouTube channel, that is going to benefit them in the long run, because it's not like you're wasting your time with these hobbies, because these are actual skills that you're able to put on your resume. This is actual real-time experience that counts and that you're able to talk about in a college or scholarship essay, in a cover letter. They make your resume better. And on top of that, it's also like the perfect way to de-stress after a tiring long day. Like, I'm not an artist, but I would love to just sit down after a tiring day, grab a cup of hot chocolate, turn on some peaceful music, and just sit and paint. Or doing that as an activity with your friends or hosting an event of some sort might get you professional connections, which I'm gonna go into later. I'm gonna give you an example of my creative hobby. I do calligraphy. I've been doing this since I was in grade 7, and I absolutely fell in love with it. This helped me so much with my anxiety during high school. Like, sometimes I would literally be doing this in class on my homework just to like practice, because at the time I was still learning, and it was just such a fun way for me to like de-stress. It helped me like calm my nerves, and in the process I learned something so cool. It has just been valuable and beneficial, not just to me but to other people too. I constantly have people, friends, family members, acquaintances like come up to me and be like, can you write my name on my folder? Hey, can you write me a birthday card for my friend? Once you learn it, it's a lot easier for you, but for other people it's so cool. Like, I literally see people's eyes pop out of their sockets, okay, when they see stuff like this. And also it makes really cute handmade gifts. I also used to do knitting, and so I would knit people hats and scarves. In grade 4, I actually sold a bunch of my hats and stuff, like hats and scarves. I was selling those. That's another story for another time, but it was like this young entrepreneur show, and I sold out. And it's like, if I made more hats, I probably would have sold out of those too, because there was like so much demand for that. So it's like, it's something that you can also potentially turn into a business or a side hustle and make a little bit of extra income from too. Yeah, and also with calligraphy, I did not monetize calligraphy, and I'm actually really happy about that, because I feel like when you monetize stuff, it kind of just, it becomes harder for you to enjoy it. I love like the fact that I'm able to like make somebody a cute, personalized, handmade gift that shows them that I really care about them, you know? So I highly recommend it. You can make somebody else's day if you learn how to paint or sketch or draw, and then you like do a portrait for someone. Like, that's such a cute gift. Not everybody appreciates handmade gifts, but a lot of people do. Oh, also another thing, I made this whole art wall in my room. So I decorated my entire wall with artwork that I did just for fun. You know, I wasn't like actually making it for the art wall, and it ended up looking kind of aesthetic, you know? At the time I hated it. Like, I hated my wall so much, but now that I look back at photos, I'm like, hey, this was actually not that bad. So it's also really cute decor pieces. There's so many benefits. It's like crazy. Like, why would you not learn something like this? Just pick a hobby, sketching, drawing, photography, videography, something. Pick it, learn it, and watch as your life literally changes, and not just your life, but your relationships with other people. Number 2, you need a hobby that keeps you healthy and fit. So I went into full detail in this episode called Become Unrecognizable in 2024 by doing these 5 things. So go check that out. It explains the complete science behind all of this stuff. You know, to put this into perspective, I saw this TikTok of a woman who was doing some exercises as a young person, and then she was showing like the older version of herself doing the same exercises when she was like picking up flour. Like, for example, like she was squatting. It's kind of hard to explain. I'll link it if I can, but it's such a beautiful way to put it into perspective. Like, what you do right now is gonna benefit your future self. And I know that's a little bit hard to think about when you're young, when you're like really young, you know, like I'm still a teenager, and it's kind of hard to think about being old, like old, but it's like we're all gonna get old at some point. And I like learning from other people's mistakes. I've heard from so many people that they didn't take care of their bodies, and as a result, they really suffered as they were older. So hobbies are such an amazing way to kind of draw you out of your shell and push yourself a little bit outside your comfort zone. Things you do for this will depend on your age. For example, I would not expect a tween to like start going to the gym. Some of the things that I do include going for runs. Whenever I am like angry about stuff, I go on a run just to like calm myself down and take all that rage out. And it also just like helps put me in such a good mood. The physical activity that you do doesn't actually just help you like stay fit physically. Like that's only one benefit of it. The craziest part is that it helps you with your academics. That's why student athletes are like so heavily recruited by universities, because they understand the scientific benefits behind sports and like staying fit and what it does to your brain. It's so cool, because if you work out consistently or just stay fit in general and like are doing this on a consistent basis every single day, what's gonna happen is your concentration, your focus, your comprehension skills, all of these increase like substantially. It does take work, but it's like so worth it. And that's why I'm making an effort to like move every single day. I'm gonna share this clip from Mel Robbins because this altered the chemistry of my brain.
Here's a simple rule. Never, ever, ever let your mood dictate what you do. You have to take action first, because movement changes your mood. If you want to be healthier, exercise, and your mood after you move will feel incredible. Do not let the mood you're in now dictate what you do next.
Movement changes your mood. So I was like, this sounds too good to be true. And I kind of tested it out over the last few months. It's not like magic, just like you move your body and then yes, all your problems are solved and you receive eternal happiness. But over time, you see it build up. When I go to the gym, when I go for a run, I always used to wonder, like, why do I feel so good after doing this? And it's like because of the endorphins that your body releases after that movement. It's why people are running marathons even in their 50s, 60s, 70s. Like, people know the benefits that this has for their bodies. And the coolest part is like you don't have to do just like one thing that everybody's doing. No, there are like so many different types of sports out there. Basketball, baseball, skiing, swimming, you can do depending on who you are as a person. So ask yourself, like, what is something that I'd be open to trying out, you know, or that I would like actually enjoy doing? You want something that you ideally enjoy, right? For me, basketball is my literal therapy. Like, that ball has been there for me more than people have. But if you ask me to try to play baseball or cricket, like, I can't do that. I am running out the door, because that's just not me. Even though I like sports and I like moving my body, so everybody has stuff that they like or dislike. I'm not telling you to do things a certain way, like, oh, you have to play basketball because I play basketball and it's like so fun. No, do your own thing, figure out your own sport that works for you and that makes you happy and you feel really good about. It could be a solo sport or something that you get to play with friends and people. There's a lot of studies on like the team building aspect and like what being on a team does for you and how it increases your collaboration and leadership skills. The benefits, guys, are endless. So your homework for this video, for this hobby in particular, is to ideally pick a sport that you love, something that makes you feel alive, and go do it consistently, okay? It doesn't have to be. You can sign up for lessons, but I know that those can be expensive and sometimes a bit of a hassle, so you can even do it on your own. Like, I literally just go to the gym and I shoot around for like half an hour, an hour. So I played basketball in high school on a team, and I've also played club and recreationally, so I've played all the different types. I can tell you I love all of them. Once it becomes a part of your muscle memory, it just gets easier and easier. I've heard of people who go to the gym, are like, hey, this is getting easier. Like, why does the gym feel easier? It's not that the gym is getting easier, it's that you are getting stronger, so have more energy. Oh, that's another thing I learned. Your energy levels will remain consistent. Something I struggle with a lot. My energy goes up and down throughout the days, but it's like when I'm working out and when I have a consistent routine in place, I notice that I'm just like more productive in general. You get more work done in less time because you are more easily able to get into your flow state. If you don't know what that is, search it up. It's pretty cool. When I'm not working out and I'm kind of just trying to focus and study for like, I don't know, 10 hours a day, it's just not working because I'm just not motivated the same. Whereas when you come back from a workout or a run or playing a fun sport that you love, and then you sit down to do your homework, like, yeah, you're tired, but you are able to focus better. For example, 2 hours of work might end up being more productive for you than 4 hours of work on a day where you just don't work out or don't do like anything else. If you're struggling with school, this could be the solution. One last thing, it increases your confidence significantly. Recently, I was going to the gym and I would do this exercise that would help fix my posture. And I did that for like several weeks and I ended up feeling like so much better about my posture, because before that I was like so slouchy and I didn't look confident. And because I didn't look confident, like when I was walking outside, I also didn't feel as confident compared to now where it looks so much better, it feels so much better. So it can help you with your confidence. Like if you struggle with low self-esteem or insecurities, this is a potential solution. Number 3, a hobby that increases your knowledge. So these include chess, learning a new language, or even reading. And that's the one that I'm very biased about. If you look at my other videos on my main channel, I talk about books quite a bit. And this is the one I want to talk about the most because they don't talk about this in school. I don't know why they don't teach you this in school. They're just like, read, open your book and read. Like, they don't explain why, they don't explain the science behind it. So I went into the detail about the science behind reading and what it does to your brain, like how it literally alters your brain, alters the chemistry of your brain, in the same Becoming Unrecognizable in 2024 video, so be sure to check that out. The way I think about this hobby is that it keeps your brain fit and healthy. Some people say that our brain is like a muscle. So in order to keep our brain in shape and fit and healthy, we need to keep learning. We need to keep exposing ourselves to new stimuli, new external and internal stimuli. And that is like what helps you continue growing as a person. Sometimes I feel dead, to be honest, when I'm like not doing something new, when I'm not learning new things. I kind of feel dead. I don't know if anybody else feels this way. I feel very stagnant in my growth, and this is why like I tell all my friends to do this too, to read, to grow, to work on self-improvement. So pick your poison, pick whatever hobby works for you. These are just some examples I've listed. I've tried chess and I think it's such a cool sport, but I get kind of bored after a little while. So pick, again, like I said, everybody's different. Do your own thing. For me, reading is the way to go. Reading is what I do. Oh, also, there's another cool thing that I revealed in the video. It's like, sorry for getting very sciencey here, but I had to do research on this. And I learned that there were some studies done where the doctors took MRI scans of participants in a study where they found out that the people who were reading were able to like socialize or create better social connections, something like that. I'm paraphrasing at the top of my head. Obviously, you need to still like practice talking to people in person, but it helps you become more like emotionally intelligent and pick up on social cues better, which is just so crazy to think about. But then it makes sense when you think about it. Like when you're reading a book about like fictional characters, for example, like you're reading conversations and interactions between them, and you're also reading from the perspective of different characters. So you're kind of like in those characters' minds and you're reading from their perspective. So it just helps you like understand perspectives better and get better at socializing, you know? And speaking of talking to people, number 4 is you need a hobby that helps you socialize. I am big on volunteering. I think it depends on where you are in your life. So for example, if you're in high school, you may have a lot more time to volunteer or join community projects or stuff that you enjoy doing, versus in college, you might have a little bit less time because you have so many other responsibilities that you're juggling. But do what you can. Pick something that you're passionate about. And if you don't know what you're passionate about, like you have to test out different things. Like for example, I didn't know that I was passionate about poverty related issues until I joined a poverty related club, until I joined an organization. And from there, I ended up becoming president of that organization. You know, I basically ran my own events, my own drives, my own stuff, but I wouldn't have like figured that out if I didn't try joining these different organizations. I also tried like environmental stuff, climate change, and you know, those are great causes, but that just didn't like hit home. I wasn't as passionate about those causes as I was about poverty. I'm ethnically Pakistani, and so when I would visit Pakistan, an entirely different world. Like visiting a third world country when I was a kid really opened my eyes to just some of the stuff. Yes, I've seen people who are homeless or financially or insecure in Canada, but the stuff that I saw in Pakistan like completely changed my perspectives and outlook on the world. I ended up running like so many events, like 3 drives in in my school alone, and in several other high schools as well. I was just organizing, managing that. The amount of leadership skills I learned from this, guys, is insane. Like, I'm not saying this stuff to brag. I'm showing you that I have the receipts. Also, guys, that looks amazing on resumes. It looks amazing on job applications. Obviously, don't do it just for that reason. Do it because you like it and love it, and you would like do it even if you weren't being paid, even if you weren't being given community service hours. Like, maintain your integrity about it, obviously, but pick something that you love, and I promise you it will change your life. Also, the amount of amazing people I met thanks to these events through doing projects like this, and I got so much closer with the people in my community, and that's kind of hard for me because, like I said, I'm not naturally like a very social person. Sometimes it takes a lot for me to just come out of my shell and like talk to people that I don't know. It's a lot easier now, but it was hard for me, okay? Think about it this way. When you have an actual purpose that you're working towards, then you'll do anything you can. You'll communicate with people, you'll work with a team, you'll do everything you can to make that happen, right? Because if you know that what you're doing, the work you're doing is going to benefit somebody or change their life, you're going to take it seriously. You're going to be able to push yourself out of your comfort zone so much easier because you have a purpose. You have like something in mind that's like pushing you, driving you to do that, even if it's uncomfortable for you. And of course, this doesn't just apply to volunteering, it's also clubs, events, community events. For example, we celebrate Eid, which is kind of like our Christmas, and we ran a celebration for that in our school. It took a lot of planning, it took a lot of work, but it was so much fun, and you're like just doing stuff like that, you know. I have friends who would like join student council and stuff in school. You can do that in school, in college, recreational centers nearby, again, volunteering organizations, there's so many different things. Just search up the nearest ones in your area. And number 5, a hobby that makes you money. So apparently a research study revealed that about 50% of Gen Z has a side hustle, and I don't know how accurate that is because isn't Gen Z like, there's still a lot of us that are really young. Like some of us are, I think, wait, when's the latest? Let me check. Wow, yeah, Gen Z is from 1997 to 2012. So I definitely don't think that people who are like 12 or 13 have side hustles right now. But that is kind of crazy. Wow. You know what? I think that does make sense. Like if I ask people around me, I think I should do this on my Instagram. I think I'm gonna do a poll on this and see like what people say, because I know people who are like freelancing or who have side hustles besides their main job or something. I mean, in this economy, totally makes sense. I had to move, so I apologize if there's any echo. Given the state of the world right now, I think it's safe to say that having even a little bit of extra financial security definitely doesn't hurt. And no, you don't need to sacrifice all of your Netflix time. You don't need to hustle, but there are definitely going to be a little bit of sacrifices. But at the end of the day, it is a choice, and I think the earlier that you start, the better. And this is why I'm like aiming this at young people. The amount of advantages you have at this stage, you will never have in your life again. And I know that so many people, so many older people tell us this, but like I'm young. And I'm saying this to you. I think it might hit a little bit different coming from another young person. Like I said, I love learning from other people's mistakes. One of the most common mistakes successful people will admit to you is that they wish they had started earlier. That is one of their only regrets. They just wish that they had started at a younger age, as early as possible. I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes I feel like I've got this, I'm so confident, but then it takes me like forever to start something that I could have started yesterday or the day before and could have made so much more progress with by now if I had just started earlier. So, you know, I know you get this reminder a lot, but it doesn't hurt coming from another young person. So an example I can give you from myself that I have actually tried out myself is freelancing. I actually have this friend who is an amazing writer, and I keep telling her that you gotta start something, like you can do something with this from a freelancing side, because she doesn't like the job that she's working right now. I'm like, girl, you can do this. So the idea is to learn a high income skill. Now, most skills are monetizable and profitable, but some more than others. Do your due diligence, do your own research here. You want to do something that like you don't absolutely hate, okay? It might not be something you absolutely love, but at the very least, don't hate it to the point where it makes you feel like you're walking on glass every time you're doing it. The idea of a side hustle is that it's like a side thing. It's not like your main focus, but it's just something that can be fun. So I recommend freelancing, but there are also people starting their own small businesses. Going back to hobby number 1, if you're a creative, there are so many many different ways that you could possibly monetize that. Would you want to monetize that or not? I don't know. But for example, if you have multiple creative hobbies like me, maybe monetizing just one of them might allow you to sustain the other one and keep it going long term, because hobbies can be expensive sometimes. Like some of the ones that like I personally have really wanted to try from a young age, like music or horse riding, they often cost a lot of money. So if you want to sustain your hobbies and like keep them going, it's nice to have a little bit of extra income coming in to support that. For me, I'm in the marketing space, so the skills that I have had to learn are related to like social media, video editing, videography, a little bit of photography. I'm kind of trying to dabble into that now. Design, graphic design, all of this stuff that I used to sound so scary still does to me. Like I've had to learn these because of that one hobby I decided to start for fun. And many of these things I've had to learn how to teach myself because there was nobody holding my hand or telling me how to do this, which again, very scary, but man, is it rewarding. And of course, the professional opportunities that I have gotten from my creative hobbies. So I used to volunteer for a couple of companies, and because of that, I ended up meeting the right people to help monetize another one of my hobbies. It's so weird. I was not expecting it at all. The point is, like, you never know who you're gonna meet, and it's not guaranteed, but it's like you're not doing it for that purpose anyways, right? I think networking, when you're like deliberately trying to do it and you're just like you're going to a networking event solely for the purpose of networking, I don't know if that's gonna work very well, or as well as when it's like authentic and natural and it just happens. If there's anything I've learned, it's that it usually shouldn't be forced. Sometimes there will be moments where you will have to be very professional and it's like mostly about networking, but the best networking, in my opinion, is when you're not doing it on purpose or solely for the purpose to network. The more you put yourself out there and you like, when you put energy into something, you get it back. It doesn't happen in a day or 2 days. Like this volunteering stuff, for example, I was volunteering there for years. I still am. And finally, I have one very important piece of homework for you. If there's only one thing you take away from this video, let it be this. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. This is the full quote in case you didn't know. I certainly didn't know, because every time this quote was thrown in my face, people only used the first half. A jack of all trades is the master of none. That's it. And people would deliberately use that against me to try to get me to like stop doing a lot of different things and narrow my focus down on one specific thing that I didn't want to do. Look, there will be plenty of people telling you to focus on one thing and one thing only, whether you like it or hate it. And there will be plenty of times where you will feel like your hobby is a complete and utter waste of time, when you're completely failing at it, when you're not getting any results. There will be so many times where you will doubt yourself. Life doesn't care how confident you are or how much you believe in yourself. Like there will be times where your belief in yourself will be tested. So always refer back to this quote, which is from Shakespeare, by the way, and strengthen your mind using these mindset shifts. Basically, you want to shift your identity so that it revolves around who you are outside of school, outside the classroom, outside your work. Who are you? This is your chance to figure out who you are when you're allowed to use your time the way that you want. Yes, there are other limitations imposed on you by life, mental health barriers, financial barriers, etc., but whatever hobbies you are capable of doing, and there are a lot more than you think, if you start them now, you're using your time to do exactly what you want to do. And that makes you who you are. And not every single conversation is gonna be about work, what you do for a living, okay? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, that gets really boring and really dry very quickly. And that's why the more hobbies you have, the more interesting you are. I really hope you found value in this video. If you did, please make sure to let me know down below. Becoming Discomfortable is also available on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, which I will link down below if you're that person who likes to listen to podcasts while you're driving or walking or doing something. If you want to watch the video podcasts, they are on my old channel, and the new ones from now on are going to be on this brand new channel. That is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.